Uh, I just seen this video pop up, and this title is crazy. We're on this is one of Joe Rogan clips. It says the story of the man who survived the Titanic by being drunk. I'm just trying to think, was this in the movie? Now I got to go back and look. All right, man. Appreciate you guys coming over. My mind is just tripping right now because I'm like, all right, we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Do you know the one of the dudes that survived the Titanic? He was in the water for 2 hours. And I think he's a
What?
chef. And the story was that he got drunk before he went in the water. He just got hammered because he knew he was going to die. And somehow or another, because he was drunk, he survived. See if you can find that.
Got it.
I was reading this. I was like, how does that make sense? How a baker survived the Titanic sinking by getting really drunk. God damn, these ad blockers, these motherfuckers.
You would think maybe
There we go.
drowned or
Okay.
something? What?
So, can you go back up so I could read? Scroll. So it says Charles. How do you say that? Johin. How do you say that, Jamie? Johin. Johin was one of the disaster's most unlikely survivors, and he did it thanks to industrial amounts of liquor. So this dude got super duper hammered before he went in the water, and somehow or another it helped him survive. It was an almost physiologically impossible feat of survival. And according to the British Titanic Inquiry, it was because the 33-year-old Englishman had the presence of mind to greet history's greatest maritime disaster by getting smashed.
What?
So
He
Like
knew he
he-
was dying.
he knew he was dying,
Fuck.
so he just decided to get fucked up, but he survived. In survival situations, having all that warm blood away from the vital organs means that the drinker is at a greater risk of hyperthermia. However, Canadian hypothermia expert Gordon Geisbrecht figures in the minus 2 degrees Celsius temperature of the North Atlantic, the water was cold enough to quickly tighten Johin's blood vessels and cancel out any effects of the alcohol. So then, at low to moderate doses of alcohol, cold will win out, says Geisbrecht. The University of Manitoba professor has performed hundreds of cold water immersion studies. What Johin would have had, however, is the awesome life-saving power of liquid courage. Alcohol remains a leading cause of humans getting into fatal situations, including freezing to death. Nevertheless, the relaxing qualities of the drug have long been known to give humans an uncanny ability to survive trauma.
This reminded me of the story of the lady that passed out in the snow, and her friends found her like the next day, and they brought her in. She was still alive.
Yeah, they're saying right here in the ER, cold patients who are really drunk can walk in and they're conscious at a temperature that they shouldn't be.
That is crazy.
So
man.
being drunk keeps you alive. Keep scrolling down a little more.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, his actions might speak to a man unfazed by impending disaster. Immediately upon hearing the collision with an iceberg, the chief baker leapt out of his bunk and began dispatching his staff to stock the lifeboats with bread and biscuits. This done, he popped back into his cabin for a drink before heading topside to help load lifeboats. Not only did Joaquin, however I say his name, Joaquin, refuse his own place on a boat, but there's no men like that today. But he and a few other men began forcibly chucking reluctant women into empty seats, likely saving their lives. He said, "We threw them in," he testified later. Top deck of the increasingly listing Titanic was mostly cleared of lifeboats by 1:30 a.m. To most, this was a panic-inducing sign that all hopes of rescue was gone, but to whatever his name is, it was a cue to head back to his cabin for another drink. So this dude's just getting fucked up. He sat down on his bunk and nursed it along, aware but not particularly caring that the water now rippled through the cabin doorway, wrote historian Walter Lord in A Night to Remember. Lord was in touch with the dude before the baker's 1956 death. He said the dude then splashed topside again, where he took upon himself to begin throwing deck chairs overboard with an eye to filling the water with impromptu flotation devices. so the people could float around on the chairs. Is perched. He then worked his way back to the pantry to get a drink of water. The baker was standing on the stern when the ship broke in half, and yet he remembered the violent, catastrophic breakup only as a great list over to port. There was no great shock or anything, he told the Inquirer, so he was just hammered.
Man.
Definitely moving through the swarms of people. He made it to the stern rail of the ship. Exactly 2:20 a.m., he rode the sinking Titanic into the sea like an elevator. Woo! As with all surviving Titanic crew members, 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912 was also the exact moment at which the White Star Line stopped paying him. Oh boy. The first stage of cold water immersion is known as cold shock. Horrifying sensation of having the skin cool. The feelings with the Titanic's second officer, Charles Lightoller, described as being like 1,000 knives being driven into one's body.
Oh.
So how did this dude survive? What did he float around on for 2 hours?
Right.
Does it say?
This is
Paddling and treading water, you said.
I was just paddling and treading water for 2 hours?
wow.
Oh my God.
How come Leo couldn't do that then in the movie? Just sunk in the water after
He
2
wasn't
minutes.
drunk.
But Leo wasn't hammered, and he gave up. This dude didn't give up. He paddled water for hours. I guess it took a couple hours for them to get someone to get to them,
Yeah, he's after 2 hours.
which is pretty
the
impressive that they got to them in 2 hours.
darkness, eventually hauled.
In 19 what? What was this like?
19 or somewhere around there. I don't know the exact 1912. I don't know.
It was
He
the
said
early
19
1900s. So
he
the
said
fact they
1912.
got to them in 2 hours is pretty amazing. 1919.
2019.
Oh no, 107th anniversary. Yeah, okay. So
12.
yeah, 1912. Wow.
I see a comment right here. It said, I would have loved to seen this in the Titanic movie instead of Leo freezing in the water. Dude, what? I need to read some comments because I'm like, could you imagine seeing that? Like, because I feel like, I'm just trying to remember, like, I feel like in situations like that, or any situation that's involved and when you feel like it's time to go, it's gonna be a lot of people who probably just be drinking. So the fact that he actually survived, I'm kind of upset that they didn't at least show a little of it, you know, whether it was him just kind of walking. Wait. Someone said not only was he drunk, he was also said to be the very last person to jump off the Titanic as she went down. He's briefly seen in the James Cameron movie standing next to Rose and Jack as the ship went down. What? Oh. Someone said, wait, that's him? I was wondering why Rose was giving him a long look. And he takes a drink from his flask. Oh, I think I remember that part with the dude with the flask. Please comment below if you guys heard about this. I mean, this video is from, what, 9 days ago. That's pretty crazy. Now I kind of want to look up the story on him, if there's a story on him. Like, did Mr. Ballin do a story? Hey, please comment below, man. Peace out.